too long after receiving that award, Kathy Griffin fell into prescription drug addiction, PTSD, and even tried to unalive herself. Now, I don't know if that's God's judgment. I don't know if it's his punishment, but I do know naturally any good psychotherapist will tell you, try and fill a God-shaped hole with something like an award and it will eat you alive. Even the great atheist David Foster Wallace said that worship anything on this planet and you will die 1,000 deaths, but worship something infinite and transcendent and it will buoy you all life long. Worship the God of the universe, worship Jesus Christ, and you will have the most fulfilling life possible.
So Cliff Jr. here is grasping for straws. And first I'm going to tell you what really happened to Kathy Griffin. And then I'll break down exactly how this mental manipulation is often utilized in Christianity and it omits a lot of reality that is happening within the world of Christianity and outside the world of Christianity. So the first thing about Kathy Griffin, she made this statement at the Emmy Awards in 2007. She made it as satire against all the other performers who come up there and they always thank God for this and thank God for that. You guys have seen that happen every time someone wins a championships in sports or wins an award for a movie or anything in entertainment, or even in locally or in your own lives. You see people get a new car, buy a house, and they first thing they do is thank God for having those things in their lives. So her comedy, which was already based on satire against Hollywood people, personalities, this was also satire. The whole thing that she completely said that people who had came up before her were all thanking God, but Jesus is as far and away and not part of me winning this award. So it was seen as Hollywood satire. Now in 2007, she was doing great in her career. She continued to do great in her career in 2008, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Around 2015, things started getting a little shaky. She had an accident. She hurt herself. She then got on prescription drugs because of that injury. And then as that injury persisted, she continued and became addicted to the pain medications that she was taking at that time frame. And then 2017, she did a photo shoot that had satire against President Trump at the time. And that caused a bunch of people to come out against her and started making death threats towards her. They it triggered some emotional issues. People were publicly shaming her because of what she did towards Donald Trump, the MAGA people. And already being addicted to a prescription drug from an earlier injury about a year or two ago, and her career had started going down because of that addiction. Then her life went into shambles. And then during COVID, she attempted to kill herself. So a sad thing, but it had nothing to do with what she said in 2007. If this guy wanted to connect himself to the downfall of Kathy Griffin, then he should have did some shit in 2007 or 2008 or 2009. Hell, I even give him 2010. But you can't wait 10 years later to decide that, oh, her life is going downhill and now God has something to do with it. Don't mock God. It's too late. So Cliffy Jr. jumping out of this is one of those things that they utilize to manipulate people into staying in Christianity. I've seen it time and time again where pastors have stood on stages, stood at platforms and said that, oh, look at this person. They gave their life over to God and now they own this company and now they have this great wife, they have this great husband. They have their children are wonderful and great. And it's all because they gave themselves to God. When you're looking out amongst all these people and you see that guy over there gave his life to God, Ben gave his life to God, and he's still addicted to drugs. That guy over there, he gave his life to God, Ben gave his life to God, and he's still beating his wife. That this person can't afford to feed their family. This person is about to get thrown out of their house. This person keeps losing their jobs. You see, there's no reality that demonstrates that this God has anything to do with your success or your failures. What has to do with your success and your failures are the decisions that you make and the decision that other people make that has influence on your life. So like if you work for a company, but the company decides that they want to shut down or they merge and you lose your job, it's because of someone else's decision. That decision has influence over your life. And, or let's say you're a person like myself. You've been a serial entrepreneur since 2003, even though there was some entrepreneurship before that. But since 2003, pretty much haven't worked for anyone since that time frame, a couple of little times here and there. But I'm damn near unemployable to most companies. That's because of the decisions that I made. It's a good thing that I worked and built my company so that I can retire as I am right now. Don't have to work, don't have to get a job. But damn, what's funny is that I pretty much said the same thing to this God in 2008. And in 2010, I decided to sell my gym and my 2 personal training studios because I was bored. And the economy wasn't, fitness wasn't, I saw that there was more money somewhere else than it was in fitness. So I wanted to switch gears. I wanted to pivot. But I didn't suffer. And then I built the thriving popcorn company from 2012 all the way up to 2023. But because I wanted to be more involved in cigars, I shifted. In 2020, I shifted, and even though I still had the popcorn shop for 3 years so that it would support me building and constructing a cigar lounge, I built that. And has become one of the most, there's a lot more people who are more recognizable than me in cigars, but damn show in the middle pack, in the upper mid pack, and getting ready to do some more things because I'm bored. Retirement is not for me. So, but I told God to suck it. And here it is, almost 20 years later. I'm doing great. Fantastic. While on the other hand, I know personally of some other people who told God to suck it. Their life was party crazy. Then they went back to God and their life is still party crazy. I know people who have went back to God, back and forth, and their life continues to suffer. As many of the people, the Christians who watch this channel, because I know y'all out there, I see you in the comments. And if 1 is commenting, then 10 is watching. You have lived a life dedicated to this God, and you have not seen the fruits. You have been suffering this entire time. You have prayed and prayed for your child who is wayward, and they are still wayward. You have prayed and prayed for your husband, your wife who is wayward, and they are still wayward. You are still at the same job, getting passed over for promotions. You're still struggling, living paycheck to paycheck. And your God, for the last 5, 10, 20, 30 years, haven't stepped up to the plate, haven't delivered the promises that he claims he's going to deliver in his Bible. And all the time, you got Christian people coming around telling you,
this life be over soon. Heaven lasts always.
When what you should be telling them about their God is,
girl, you ought to bash Mr. Head open and think about heaven later.
Because there is not one instance where you can prove that this God has had anything to do with anyone's rise, with anyone's fall. That everything that has to do with your rise and fall is how you think, how you act, and how other people think and how they act, and what influences can impact other situations, especially your own. So until you start taking accountability and responsibility for yourself and realize that this is, as far as we know, the only life that you have, your only conscious existence as who you are, that you need to understand how precious it is, and that you need to get your ass up and get shit done so that you can have the life that you truly desire and deserve if you're willing to go out there and get it and take it. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.